You've got a great illustration about what true saving faith is. Go slowly, but give us that illustration.
John, I'll give you that illustration, but I want to add something else also, if I may.
Okay.
There could even be somebody out there who asks me this question, which I've often been asked: what about Christians? Can a true Christian commit suicide?
Yeah.
And you know the answer to that question is yes. I've known missionaries who came back from the mission field depressed and committed suicide. A Bible college professor has committed suicide. And you say, well, what happens? I believe that they also are in heaven. Now, please don't hear me and think that I'm saying, hey, commit suicide. Suicide is a permanent answer to a temporary problem. It is murder. It is a life of defeat. You do not go there. And I would say to anybody, I've counseled many people like this and helped them by saying, someday the sun will shine again. So don't you dare do this. But even there, Christ died and brings his sheep home, all the way home.
Yeah, stay right there before you move on, because we're going to get a lot of mail just on what you just said. It's true what you just said. The fact is, if you're going to outlaw suicide as being a sin that takes you out of God's kingdom and out of his hand, how do you know that? And why did you stop with suicide? Because then there are other sins that you might have to include in that list as well, and maybe you get down to the sin of the person that's listening to us right now. The thing is, it's a terrible sin.
Exactly.
But why is that person still secure even though it's suicide?
It's because he belongs to Jesus, and Jesus will bring his sheep home. But here's somebody listening who perhaps says, oh, that's absolutely awful. You know, you're just thinking, you know, that you can commit suicide. Listen, there's somebody listening right now who perhaps has accepted Christ as Savior, and we are talking about genuine Christians. And you know what's going to happen to him? He's going to commit a sin. Maybe it's the sin of lust. Maybe it's the sin of covetousness. Maybe it's the sin of pride. And he's going to die without having had a chance to confess it. Is he going to go to heaven? The answer is yes, of course, if he's a believer. In other words, when a person accepts Christ as Savior, legally, Christ then becomes your representative all the way to heaven. So we need to emphasize that God's people make it home at nightfall.